welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are going to do the final TBR Jar game of 2022 and also pick out some of the books that I'm going to have on my TBR for December. I'm playing 2 games this month. It's very ambitious of me, so let's get straight into the video. So the first portion of this video I want to focus on the TBR Jar, which is my monthly game. If you're new here, I play this game almost every single month, and what it is just a list of prompts such as physical book, as you can see there, large book, you know, just prompts for any type of genre that I generally read. Now I share this jar with my best friend, and we have prompts in here that suit both of our reading styles. We have a little bit of difference here and there. She likes to read thrillers and horrors and erotica, and I don't. So we have those in there, and if they crop up at any stage, I will not use them. However, the rules for this game are I draw out 6 prompts every month, and out of the 6 prompts, if any of them match from the previous month, I can draw out another one to replace it, and if I don't read it, such as thriller, I can replace that as well. And if I don't finish the entire month of reading, then I have to pull a punishment prompt, and that is just an extra prompt for the month, so I do 7 instead of 6. This month, November, I am on my last book now, and it is the last prompt, and I am confident that I will get it done by the end of the month. So I'm only going to draw 6 prompts out this month, and as you can see, I'm kind of festive, kind of not very set up to actually do this. So let's see if we can get them out and showcase them here so that you can see each prompt, because I'm not sure if they will show up. Before we get into the drawing of the prompts, let's quickly go through the books that I read over November for my November prompts. The first prompt was Gods, and I read Laura Olympus Volume 2. We're a bit close, this book is massive, and I gave it 4 stars. The second prompt was Fantasy, and I finished the Throne of Glass series with Kingdom of Ash, and I gave this 5 stars. Next was Time of Day, and I am currently reading Book of Night. I'm sorry, this is so close. Let me scoot you guys back a bit. There we go, we're still not on camera, but you can see half the book. I'm still reading this one. The next was Opulent Cover, and I read Heart of the Sun Warrior by 𝓤𝓮𝓻, and I gave it 3.5 stars. After that was The, Of, and it had to have one of those in the title. I chose to read The Do-Over by 𝓤𝓻𝓮, and I gave it 5 stars. It was such a good read. Next was Sci-Fi, and I read The Darkest Star by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and I gave this 4.5 stars. And finally, I had Romance, and I read All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox, and I gave it 3 stars. Alright, first prompt, let's go. We'll give it a good shake. We'll knock the Christmas tree over while we're at it. And if you can't tell, it's a little reindeer in the front here. I didn't know what to do for the setup. Right, we're going to reach in and we're going to grab out our first prompt. And we've got, not a Christmas prompt at all. I really should have put some in there. Spooky Read for our first prompt. And for Spooky Read, I have gone with Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a physical copy of this yet or an ebook, but I obviously don't have the book yet, so that's why I'm showing it on the screen as is. This is an atmospheric adult fantasy, and it follows, I believe, a young lady called Emery. And let me quickly find where I put the notes on this. Yes, it follows a young lady called Emery, and her best friend was murdered apparently by the love of her life, August, and it's now I think 14 years later, and the island that they live on is starting to show strange signs of magic, and something dark is coming, so I've chosen that for the spooky atmospheric sort of vibe for this prompt. Okay, prompt number 2. The second prompt I actually did last month, which was gods, so I get to pull again. What have we got this time? Second prompt is, hopefully it'll show soon, mood read. On to prompt number 3. And it's going to be, once my hand comes out of there, a retelling. Okay, so next on the list is a retelling, and I am going to read Cursed. Now my copy is not in yet, I've been waiting for weeks now, and hopefully it'll be here very soon, but this is the conclusion to Gilded by Marissa Meyer, and it was one of my favourite reads last year, so I cannot wait to read the sequel very, very soon, as soon as it's in my hand. And Cursed follows along from the events where it left off in Gilded, and 𝓤𝓲 has to find her way through a deadly game with the Earl King, who is determined to propel her into the depths of the castle and its lies and deceit. And that there's obviously going to be quite a lot of vengeance and justice and everything involved in trying to break not only the curse that is on the people that live in the castle, but try and take out the Earl King. I'm really excited for this story. Gild is one of my favourite main characters, well, male main characters from last year, and I'm super excited to see him again. He's just a sweetheart. Oh, that Christmas tree is not going to like me very soon. Prompt number 4, let's go. And we've got fantasy romance. Next on the list is Kingdom of the 𝓤𝓲, and I'm going to read this for fantasy romance prompt. And to be honest, it's kind of full circle because I started out 2022 with this series. I read books 1 and 2. They were my first and my third book of the year, and I'm going to be finishing the year out with this one. So yeah, we've come full circle. We'll have completed the entire series within the year, and I do have mixed feelings because this is targeted as a YA series because Kingdom of the Wicked is marketed as such, and I know how much spice there was in the second book, and this one's even spicier, and it really shouldn't be in that section. So I've had this little bit of a moral debate over where it belongs, but because I'm an adult, it shouldn't really affect me. It just bothers me a little bit how they've marketed the book, so I have held off from reading it since it came out, but definitely want to finish the series, and it fits my prompts, so I'm going to use it. So we've got 4 done, 2 to go. So prompt number 5, let's really get in there and find a good one. We've got fantasy. So the book I have chosen for fantasy is Defend the Dawn by Bridget Kemmermere. This is the second book in the 𝓤𝓲 series, and I absolutely loved book 1 last year. If you're not aware of this series, this follows Tessa and Corrick, and they are trying to find their way through a plague that has overtaken the kingdom of Kandala, and there's not enough medicine supplies to go around for everyone, and of course those in the poorest regions are suffering. And it's about how 2 different people from different walks of life come together to try and help everyone, and there's a lot of trust issues, and it's just a really fantastic read. This was my first Bridget Kemmermere book, and I absolutely loved it, the series, sorry, Defy the Night, and I'm very excited to see where book 2 will take me. And the last one, let's see if we can get something more romantic, because I've got a lot of fantasy that I can tell that I'm going to be reading for the month of December now. Just drop them all. What's this one here going to be? Oh, look at that, it listened to me. A contemporary romance. Okay, so for contemporary, I'm going to read It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is the follow-up story to It Ends With Us. And to be honest, the only reason I brought this and am reading this is because I wanted to complete the prompt on my 22 books of 2022. I had originally done another Colleen Hoover book, but I have become jaded by her writing style and her many ways of displaying toxic relationships, and so I've decided this will be the last book, because I did want to know what happened with Atlas. I did enjoy him in the first book of this series, so this follows after that when Lily has to navigate having her ex-husband still in her life because of their child together, and also how she is going to hold a relationship with Atlas, who was someone from her past. And another part of this month's TBR is that I'm going to be taking part in my friend's readathon, 'Tis the Season, for a readathon over December, and I'm going to try and match up all the prompts that I've used in the TBR jar with the same books in this. So for It's a Wonderful Life, I'm going to be reading Defend the Dawn. For White Christmas, I'm going to be reading Spells for Forgetting. And for Elf, I'm going to be reading a book that you're going to see in a moment. And for Home Alone, I've chosen to read Cursed. Hopefully it'll arrive in time. For Gremlins, I am going to be sharing the book that I've chosen for that in a moment. For Die Hard, I'm going to be reading Kingdom of the Feared. For Love Actually, I'm going to read It Starts With Us. And for the holiday, I have a book coming up that I'm going to show you, so you'll get to see that in a moment. Next up is Love on the Brain by Ellie Hazelwood. This is one of the books on my 22 books in 2022, and obviously I haven't gotten to it yet. To be fair, I have kind of gone off of Ellie and her writing style because all of her characters feel very much the same. However, I want to finish my challenge and I own the book, so I'm going to read it, and also it is going to fulfill a prompt for the 'Tis the Season readathon, and the prompt is Alf, that's the movie, and the prompts for that are light-hearted / innocent MC. Now, I am pushing the boundaries with this because I don't think there will be quite an innocent main character in this book, but I could be wrong. But I went with the lightheartedness of it being a romance. That's pretty much the only reason why I chose this book, and the fact that I need to read it before the end of the year. So this follows Bee, and she's a neuro engineer for NASA, and it looks like she has to be paired up with another worker there called Levi, and they are arch enemies, and as a workplace romance, it feels very much the same as what's the first one, The Love Hypothesis, but we'll see how it goes. I've not got big hopes for this book, to be honest, just because of how I've gone off of the author for being very samey with all of her characters, but I am excited to see if I will enjoy this because some of my friends have. And I have another Marissa Mayer book here on my list to read this month, and this is Heartless. It is her standalone YA set before Alice in Wonderland novel, and I am super excited to read this. It is one of the books on my 22 books of 2022, and I'm also going to use it for the prompt, 'Tis the Season readathon prompt Gremlins, that's the movie, and the prompts were Animal Companion / Terrible Mistake. Now, I am guessing here because the synopsis basically tells us the story of Catherine, who is the Queen of Hearts, but before she becomes that, and all she wants to do with her life is fall in love and become a baker, and she ends up meeting character called Jest at one of the king's balls, where she is supposedly going to marry the king, and she enters a secret courtship with him. So I'm assuming because it's set in Wonderland I can go with animal companions, but if there aren't any animals in there, I do feel like to get to where she is there must be some sort of mistake, because yeah, she doesn't end up with what she wanted to become in life. So she becomes the Queen of Hearts, as we know, so I've decided that I would go with this book for that prompt. And again, this is another book that I'm really excited to read this month, because I've waited all year to read it ever since I've owned it. And the final prompt for Tis the Season readathon is The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, and I'm using this for the movie The Holiday. And the prompts for that are Big Change / Unexpected Romance, and I'm using it for the latter prompt because this follows Cecilia, who is a Victorian lady but actually is also a thief, and she belongs to the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels, I'm guessing is what they're called. And she ends up being hunted by an assassin called Ned Lightbourne, and he's smitten with her, but he actually has to kill her. So there's that whole aspect of wasn't supposed to be in love, but suddenly they are, perhaps. I think this is going to be a really funny read, and it is about time that I read it. India Holton is a New Zealand author, and I'm really getting into following local authors. I'm very excited to see where this book goes, and hopefully continue on with the series, because I really do think it sounds quite enjoyable. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today and looking at my TBR for this month. Are any of these books on your list, or have you read them before? Leave your thoughts below in the comments for me, and I'd love to chat to you about them all. I'm really liking how the sun is filtering on these books right now, so that's why I haven't changed the lighting. Thank you again for spending time with me, and I will see you for a new video very, very soon. Bye everyone!